The EFF has formally laid a contempt of Parliament criminal complaint against private investigator Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. This after O'Sullivan abruptly halted his testimony at the Ad Hoc Committee on Thursday, leading him to stage a walkout without being granted leave of absence. Now, the Ad Hoc Committee is currently investigating criminal infiltration, corruption, as well as political interference within our criminal justice system. Let's now welcome political analyst Rebone Tau, who joins us to further unpack these developments. Rebone, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. So let's get your views on, firstly, the conduct of Mr. Paul O'Sullivan in regards to his conduct on Thursday and what the possible implications of the move are. I'm sure you've seen the various reactions, of course, and taking into account that we did hear that he did notify Parliament that he would have to take an early leave.
Good afternoon and good afternoon to the viewers. Unfortunately, I was watching the proceedings of the Ad Hoc Committee. But I think one should say that would want to start about, the Ad Hoc Committee itself. I think some of the members of that committee, how they question people that appear before the committee, it's a bit worrying, a bit disturbing. And you remember that the same day that Paul was there, after he left, Phahlane then had to come in, and then also you have got also issues around the evidence leader who was also asking questions in a particular manner that made Phahlane, very discomfort and he had to be condemned, the evidence leader. So we need to also talk about the behavior of the Ad Hoc Committee itself, but also how Paul left. It was really disrespectful to Parliament, and not giving the chance to the chairperson of that committee to officially release him, while he did indicate that he is going to have to leave early because he's got a flight to catch, as he indicated when he was leaving the Parliament.
Very interesting observation there on the conduct of the MPs there, Rebone. Constitutionally then, what should happen when such happens in the Parliamentary House? I mean, we have seen prior witnesses basically being kept through the process, even until the wee hours of the morning. So certainly it would appear that Mr. O'Sullivan is doing as he pleases, firstly being defiant about appearing before the committee, making unreasonable demands. Is this not a bad precedent as well by parliamentarians themselves?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that he then argues, I was watching one of his interviews yesterday, that he has been called a spy, and then we've seen that, those who are following both the Madlanga and the Ad Hoc, because in Madlanga it's a bit, they're a bit respectful, there is decoy in that commission, but the thing is that he indicates that he went there, out of his own will. But we know that for him to get there, at some point, the Ad Hoc Committee itself had to write to the Speaker of Parliament asking her to intervene and subpoena him to come through. And yes, he made those demands that he wants all this security personnel, there's a risk on his life and so forth that is being threatened. So it's really disappointing, to see such an important matter to the nation, because what the Police Commissioner General Mkhwanazi did say, was seeing when we listen both to Madlanga and the Ad Hoc, that there is indeed a serious crisis within the security cluster of this country.
Rebone, we have very limited time. If you can just pack your answer to these questions, of course. Let's talk about the final utterances that were made by Mr. O'Sullivan to MKMP, Mr. Skosana, and subsequently the bank serving him documents the very next day. And also, what do you think then the case that has been opened by the EFF will result in? If the whole of Parliament didn't rise to object the move, it certainly shows that there's some sort of division within the House as well. But certainly that shouldn't apply to such proceedings that are of national interest, especially when we hear that most of these issues had been presented before Parliament and they had been accused of failure to act. That is the parliamentarians, of course, that have been accused of that. And is it right, though, for Mr. O'Sullivan to say he can walk out simply because he was not subpoenaed to appear before the Ad Hoc Committee?
Okay, let me start with the MKP one. I think that it's a bit shocking and scary. And I think when he said it, Paul, everyone laughed, But when we saw that indeed the banks now saying that he should pay back the money, it's a bit worrying that how can he have such personal information of someone else when he's not even if he worked at the bank, he can't just publicly just make those like reckless statements. Where is the confidentiality between the client and the bank? So I think the bank will have to explain themselves. How is it that he had such information on the issue of the EFF and opening the case? I mean, if you followed until Patlana's sitting when it ended, they did deliberate on the way forward on how to handle Paul's matter, and there were different views on the matter, but there was a bit of consensus, I could say, to say that they will have to call him back, and they will have to engage the speaker, they'll have to engage the legal department of parliament, to find ways how to bring Paul back to come and finish his testimony in parliament. So I think EFF itself is playing politics. There's the realities that we're in elections here, so we are bound to see such, but at this point, I don't see him being charged because there was no subpoena. So they will have to first issue a subpoena. That's when, if he does not come, then they can charge him, because then he would have defied the subpoena. But for now, because there was never initially he was never subpoenaed to parliament, so there's no case against him. I think it's just EFF playing politics. And I think, can you remind me of the last question?
I think we're done now, Rebone. Thank you so much. You've pretty much covered all the bases there. Thank you so much for that enlightening discussion there with political analyst Rebone Tau on the matter of Paul O'Sullivan there walking out of the parliamentary proceedings on Thursday, prompting the EFF to open a case against him.